sign this again?
It's a different
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
one. Amanda?
If you don't hear it, do you have some? So, please stand for the pledge.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, do you want me to do this one first?
Yes.
Okay. On 11/20, we, pursuant to California Code Section 54957, public employment for city administrator, the council conducted interviews. And we will be making announcements in a few weeks after the holidays. Okay, on to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passed. Staff updates. Does anyone have questions regarding the staff update?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Regarding finance, I see Julie's here. I'd just like to be on the record as saying that I know the audit's going on and it's been hectic, I guess, for the week, but I'd like to get it established that we get quarterly reports in a time frame after the close of the quarter, you know, that's reasonable. We're halfway through, would be what, second quarter now?
Yeah. Well,
And we haven't seen first quarter's report. So would like to establish that and get it on a schedule and then be real consistent with it going forward so that we can, you know, react to things as we go.
And I can appreciate that, just so that you know, the first quarter report has very little revenue in it to report because almost everything's on a 3-month delay. So I don't have a lot to report for revenue. And my intent with the first quarter report is to kind of take the audit results and reset where our reserves are. So it was kind of important from my standpoint to get the audit done before I did that so that I could know what reserves, because that's really the report I'm going to give you in the first month. It's, we closed out last year, this is what happened to the reserves, and this is what we know so far, because there's not really a whole lot to report in the first quarter. But I understand your concerns, and I'll work to do that.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You have another? Go ahead, finish.
Well,
You can go ground. Yeah.
okay. Hang with me a second here. For engineering, Dave's here. Yeah. Just the thing with the lights and the PG&E contribution to that, there's a statement in here that says these Cobra poles are ready for charging stations and this and that.
They're not yet ready, but they can be adapted for that.
That's
type
only
of thing.
because there's power to the pole? Is that why you say that?
Well, what they're saying is part of the incentives for us to convert over to the LED lights, so that these new LED lights are so adaptable. They think eventually they'll be able to have charging stations on them. They'll be able to time in like Bluetooth so they can check up on them, change the wattages, the brightnesses, I should say. So they think that these ones are going to be highly adaptable. This current ones that we have, you know, the vapor lights that we have now are really bright and energy intensive. These would be a lot less energy for, so reduce the energy bill.
Okay. While I've got you there, the Blackwater engineers and the pipes for Title 22 water and whatnot, am I remembering right, is that a 50-50 deal between us and Greenhorn to get that all done?
One of the things I asked Jeff, or the Blackwater to do is give us a ratio on that. And just coming in here to the email, Greenhorn Creeks thinks it's more 60 us, 40 them, but we're still in negotiations on it, but it's pretty close to 50/50.
Okay. I think that's all I got for you.
Okay.
Unless you got anything for Chief?
No, I think it's for Dave. Hannum.
Kim's not here, but I'd like to pass on a nice commendation for her. There's an incredible amount of work in here to get the museum a lot of exposure. And, please make sure she gets that word. Okay.
Dave Hannum, I would ask you a couple things. Okay. Okay, one thing I wanted to find out, and I know we just made that decision about the ordinance about cannabis in the lab and so on. So I wanted to
Right.
look at, that one. Is that just because, update me on that with the pure laboratory conditional use permit?
Basically, I met with the applicant today. We went over all the different alternatives that they have. And it looks like that they are going to be resubmitting their application without the cannabis portion of it, at least for the lab portion of it. But I don't think they're going to take a look at the manufacturing and distribution or the size of the buildings and see what they might be able to do with that. But at this point, they'll be, if I gave them back their application, they're looking to resubmit because the lab they feel is, even without the cannabis, is an important thing. And if and when the city or the changes, or if there are things, they can always convert. That's not a big deal to them, at least at that point. We would have to re-review the whole process at that point. So right now, they're just looking at redoing the lab portion of it, and hopefully maybe bringing that back.
Okay.
But I won't know for sure. So.
Okay, so they're thinking about that. And the thing with the, well, we'll just wait and see what they do. There was something in Moxtra, however you pronounce that, the new law.
Right.
That talked about businesses sharing the same parcel, having to do with manufacturing lab and so on. But that's
Right.
something to look at if that happens in the future.
Right.
We have to make sure that there is a problem, I think, there, because the state has put some regulations on all of
Right.
that combination idea.
Right.
And I just was wondering too, now, the building department
Uh-huh.
with permits for October.
Mm-hmm.
And now, besides DeNova, is that an upswing? I'm just having to familiarize myself.
Well, in
that-
terms of permits, we are getting more permits in terms of just the general, remodels, re-roofs, those types of permits. And probably after next month, you'll get a report from me outlining the total number of permits, and I usually put them up with what we did the year before in terms of the permit
Okay.
evaluation and the costs that we've brought in. In terms of permits, I think we're up this year again for the third year in a row. We've been averaging between about 100 and 110. We think this year we're right around 115, 120, which includes DeNova, but it also includes other projects that are going on within the community. So, I mean, that's all the permits. So that's, the re-roofs, we've gotten a lot of solar permits, we've gotten a lot of re-roofs, we've gotten a lot of hot water heaters, those type of permits, some remodel permits. So, so that covers all of them. So, like when I put in my the 26 permits, maybe one of those was DeNova. The rest of them were just average or standard type permits. And basically, we collected about $94,000 in fees, which I can tell that's usually, there's probably a house or two in there. And then the valuation of all the construction is $1 million.
I see.
So yeah, so those numbers I think are starting to go up a little bit in terms of the fees collected as well as the valuation. But usually my second meeting in January, I'll give you like an update of what we've done for the, because all of our stuff's on calendar year, so not
Oh,
fiscal
really?
year.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay,
all right.
that was it. Thank you.
Before you get away,
Yes, sir.
in the October 17th meeting, we talked about resetting priorities in the plan.
Yeah.
We came away with like a half a dozen or so, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
Is there any progress on that?
Actually, yeah, there are. I have received a couple of golf cart ordinances regarding those. I have been talking to Dave. I've talked to him a couple of times just regarding of where the alternative water source is in terms of the master plan and how we can either start moving that forward or that on that aspect of it. Those have been the two that I've been working on, that I've been able to get information for the majority of it. So I'm still continuing, and we'll keep updating you as I'm getting those, so.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so for the Load Hotel,
Uh-huh.
exactly what are we gonna have them abate?
Basically, all of the violations that are within the hotel.
Okay. Okay, so
So-
it's not the actual building or anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, what'll happen is that if the violations, after the 30 days, we pretty much have enough violations to be able to take the building down. We'll be coming to you for action, a number of different options of what we want to do with that hotel. So right now, we haven't heard anything back, so I'll probably have something in January on that. Because I think the 30 days is up in mid-December, on that project. So, so hopefully we will be able to, bring a recommended action to the council.
And then, one more.
Sure.
Have the list of projects that have gone to COG, are we gonna see them before, just to review them?
Oh, yeah.
Or, okay,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just to let you know on that, we had a meeting just, let's see, what's it, yesterday. We had a
okay,
meeting yesterday regarding, and we will be, they kind of extended the timeline for us because it's not associated with the OWP. They're all, so probably we'll be coming to you with projects probably in January, to go to, for an update. Staff will get together, with that, and then we'll bring it to council and where you guys, want to go, and then we'll take those recommendations to the COG.
okay,
So we know there's probably about $2 million available in the call through CMAQ and LTF and RSDP. And the LTF is bike and ped. So there's a bike and ped component of the local transportation funds, which is LTF. There's about 16,000 over the 4 years, so there's little money there. So yeah, we'll be bringing projects pretty soon. So, and I will also be bringing you a project, a permission to apply for a grant in December as well for a partnership planning grant. So I was able to talk to a major property owner, and that's something that he wanted us to do. And so we'll be hopefully bringing that to you in January as well. So.
thank you. Anyone else?
I do.
I had it.
Yes.
No, he can go. I just have something to add to my report.
Oh,
When
okay.
he's- when you're done.
I found 2 more things for Mr. Meyer, so.
Thanks, Dave.
I was curious about the raspberry staircase business and where we were with that. We left last time, it was, let's take a look at it from a point of view of another vendor, maybe with the metal structure, and then maybe relooking at it to do it again in wood, or the whole thing all over again. So any change in the status on that?
Yeah. Let's see, as my understanding, one of the things that the mayor said was that we were going to try to put it out to bid for the metal alternative and the wood alternative. So I went back to the office. We didn't have a wood design. We had kind of a sketch. And just tonight, I finished up the wood design on it and the drawing, so hopefully I submitted it in to Steve. Hopefully he'll approve it. But so far, we have a design for both right now. The other thing we were going to look for was trying to get some of the COG money to fund it, and I haven't moved anywhere on that one.
Okay. And then, what about that fiasco with the filtered over there where Bret Hart was digging along the fence? Did you guys get the engineer out there to try and find it?
Well, they had the school was, as we left it, the school was going to get a surveyor to find where that description was, which wasn't necessarily where the water line was, but where the description was. And I have to set up a meeting with Shannon, their facilities manager, to see where that line is. They think only a part of the fill's over it, which still is the fill over it, but we'll see.
So you're saying they had the lead on
Yes.
engaging with the engineer?
Yes.
Okay, and it's not done yet?
No, they got the engineer, they got it laid out. I just have been snowed under on this staircase and other issues that had to be done this week,
Okay.
so I haven't gotten back to them.
Good?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
I just have something real quick to add to my report. The meeting for December 5th is now going to be December 4th, and this is for the public to know. The cannabis urgency ordinance will be on the December 4th meeting, which is a Monday, and it will be at Bret Hart Theater again, because that was the only day we could get it in December, so we will have the ordinance extending the urgency ordinance on that meeting, just so people that have been at the ordinance meeting last time are aware of this, and also just so we know it's out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that, Mary, is to make
Okay.
that extension, right? To,
Yes, and
It's-
actually, it will be a regular meeting, that just happens to be
Yeah.
one of the items on the agenda, but yes, it's for the extension.
And no other questions? Okay. Move on to council update. I'll start with Linda.
I went to the transit meeting whenever, last week, and it's all a blur. But I attended the transit meeting, and Phil McGuire was a consultant, and he put out, what we're doing is trying to do a COG, the city and county, doing a JPA, joint, so that we can, Joint Powers Act, so that we can have all three of us working with transit, all three bodies, developing a transit plan for the county and for the city. So we met and discussed that.
Joe?
The 26th, I went, last month, I did a tour of the UWPA district. It's pretty extensive. Went way upstream and visited pretty much all of the facilities, all the way down to the powerhouse here in town, and it was
Nice.
very educational. Came away really impressed with what goes on in the background and some of the little intricacies that it takes to put power into the grid, and a little history on water. It was really well worth my time. I really enjoyed it. On the first, I attended the Calaveras County government. I got an acronym here and I'm struggling. COG.
Yeah, COG.
Yeah, Council of Government as an alternate for you, and so that was my first time at that meeting. So a lot of that was kind of, a lot of acronyms and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on. But to my benefit, it was a short meeting because there was a World Series game on that night, and I think brevity was the order of the day, so it kind of sailed right on through. And then yesterday, I attended Central Sierra Economic Development meeting over in Sonora, and that was my first meeting for that group too, and just made some new acquaintances and got a little flavor for what that's all about.
That's a good meeting. It's a big regional meeting,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
get
it
everyone.
represents 4 counties and soon to be a 5th. I guess Amador is going to become part of that, and a lot of good discussion and activity.
I attended LAFCO, and our meeting has been changed to December 10th, sorry. At the 10th, we changed it again.
Oh, you changed it again?
Yeah,
January 10th.
yeah, December,
So there is.
January 10th, yeah, it's January 10th, sorry. Yeah, we canceled it from December 10th to January.
Okay.
And we discussed the sphere of influence of Saddle Creek, as well as an annexation of a part in Murphy's into Murphy's Water District. And I also attended the CalAFCO conference for just one day due to a family emergency, and that first day was pretty good. They gave us a really good platform on, while it focused primarily on LAFCO, it was good for cities and counties to maybe take it into something they can incorporate, about how to interact with the public better, whether it be through social media, more town halls, and how creating that platform for public engagement can help shift public assumptions of what is going on. They primarily focused on LAFCO because no one knows what LAFCO is. and how to rebrand LAFCO and how to educate the public of the importance of LAFCO, but we all also took away of how we can utilize that at our local cities or counties. And it was a good event. And then in my place, Anita, who also is on the LAFCO, Cal LAFCO board, presented. I represented the rural counties in a presentation regarding how to save money. So Anita did the presentation for me, and along with Santa Clara County and Humboldt and a few other cities down south, on how we can redirect efficiency in LAFCO. So, yeah. Okay. So moving on, public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on matters not on the agenda. State law prohibits the council from acting upon matters not listed on the agenda. Matters raised by the public will automatically refer to staff or placed on the next agenda. Each speaker has a maximum of 3 minutes for public comment. And is there anyone in the audience that's... Okay.
Christy Reisman, Angels Camp. I listened carefully to the council's comments surrounding the urgency ordinance vote on commercial marijuana activities at the November 13th special meeting. I'm very concerned about the veracity of the information that the city council is relying upon to make vital decisions on the marijuana issue. It would be a shame for our city to be ruined based on fake news circulated by the marijuana industry who stands to profit, knowing that you guys are very busy and you may not have time to properly vet everything that you're told. Councilperson Matilde voiced a concern that the, quote, closest lab is in Fresno, and opined that this places a hardship on wineries and anyone else locally that has to test water. I've placed in front of you a map from the State Water Resources Control Board of accredited testing facilities. There are 27 labs within a 60-mile radius of Angels Camp. 1 in Twain Harte, 1 in Riverbank, 2 in Stockton, 2 in Modesto, and 1 in Elk Grove. The lab in Elk Grove, Alpha Analytical, is certified to conduct a very wide range of testing on water, soil, etc. And they have a courier who comes to Angels Camp every day, Monday through Friday, at 10 a.m. to pick up samples. Guess where they pick them up? From a series of locked boxes conveniently located at City Hall. From this series of locked boxes, Alpha Analytical handles testing for city water and wastewater, many local utility districts, local wineries, and local real estate and well companies. We do not have any unmet lab service needs in Angels Camp. I hope that the council will regard whoever fed you the fake news about Fresno being the closest lab with suspicion because they didn't tell you the truth. I'm also concerned about the consolidated staff report from the 10/17 council meeting regarding the certified peer laboratories. And Dave mentioned that they're still in process on that. I did a little bit of research, and it appears that Patrick Sullivan, who is spearheading this project, he's the front man for the investor who is already fully invested, working actively in the pot industry, is behind this. And the application should be rejected immediately because if you read Malcursa, read page 4, page 19, and page 36. It is absolutely prohibited for anyone who is in any other area of the pot industry, either as an investor or a co-owner, or you own the property, or you're an employee, to be involved in a lab. It's supposed to be total separation. The intent of the state was for a company like Alpha Analytical, scientists running a lab, to be the ones doing that investigation, not for people in the marijuana industry to set up a front lab to regulate themselves. I think it's kind of dangerous to start pursuing business with somebody that's applying for something that isn't legal from the outset. The other thing that was expressed is that I believe Councilperson Matilde brought it up, and it was expressed that there's a lot of concern about the importance of medical marijuana and that any ban commercial is going to affect that. It absolutely will not. Mal Cursa, page 26. Medical marijuana is not subject to any of the licensure requirements required in this, so any bans are not going to influence that at all. And finally, I really urge and beg you to read Mal Cursa in its entirety yourself, all 166 pages. There's so much more to it, and some of the things that the council seems to think are going to be sources of income simply will not pan out. You can download it from legeinfo.ca.gov, or if any of you want to call or email me, I'll be happy to email it out to you. One more thing on the labs. Labs are a service, so there's not really a big source of revenue available from lab services anyway. It's not like retail where there's a sales tax. And I'm just very, very concerned, and your chief said this too, that this is going to bring a whole lot of risk and just not enough reward. There's plenty of other labs who offer legitimate testing services of all products. And so I really hope that you take this into consideration before you make your final decision on December 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hi, my name is Anna Gutierrez. I'm the manager of the cottages out at Greenhorn Creek. We have 13 vacation rentals out there. I've had my business almost 20 years, and I've been doing business here in Angels Camp for over 10. During that time, I contacted the City of Angels on multiple occasions whenever I had questions about the TOT to make sure I was in compliance. So I was shocked last year when they did the audit, and all of a sudden they changed the rules overnight. And at that time, I disagreed with it. So I made an appointment with the city, and I went in and spoke with Michael Mahattan. And he said that what I presented to him was very compelling. He was going to review it and get back to me. So 4 months passed, 6 months passed, and I didn't hear from him. I assumed that it had been dropped. So I was shocked last month when I got a letter with the city looking for money over a year later after I'd spoken to him. So what I would like to do is see if I could get on the next agenda to discuss these details with the board in regard to the audit.
Is that something? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other? You got it? Okay. Is there any other public comment? Okay. So moving on, council updates. Oh, sorry. Consent agenda. I'm sorry. Going backwards here. Any items on the consent agenda that you'd like to see removed? No.
Not for me.
Any public? No? Okay. So I will move, is there a move to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to regular agenda, adopt resolution 1738 approving a public transportation modernization improvement and service enhancement account project for the purchase of a trolley for the Saturday transit service and authorizing the city administrator to execute a agreement between the Calaveras Council of Governments and the city of Angels. Hannah, yep, there you are. Go for it.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Tonight before you, we have an item regarding the potential of purchasing a trolley as part of the transit system. To kind of give you some background on this, and I'll just use the acronym, I'm sorry, but it's so long to say it every single time, but it's basically the PTMI SEA program. That program is put forth by the state of California, and it's ferreted through by the Calaveras Council of Governments. And basically, as I listed the funding of the eligible projects, the COG with the county has, since they are the transit agency, have been running through projects for the last probably 10 to 15 years regarding bus shelters. In fact, we've benefited from about at least one bus shelter already, or two actually, and we're getting another two more. However, there was, in terms of dollars, the program was starting to run out, and there was about a $211,000 that was available for projects. And so before we went to the phase 4 of the projects, which includes all the bus shelters on that, we talked about potentially putting money away for our transit center and those types of things. And so, but we really just didn't have enough money. And so what happened was talking with Amber Collins, the executive director, and actually we kind of talked about it a little bit when Melissa Eads was there, about purchasing a trolley for the Saturday Hopper. Because right now the Saturday Hopper is just a regular Calaveras County transit vehicle that goes to Walmart, downtown, and then up to Murphy's. And so when this was brought up to me, I thought, well, you know, can the city sponsor that project first of all? Because normally transit capital is a county project. And then what can we do with it? So after doing all the research and working with Amber and that, they said, yeah, the city can apply for the monies to get this trolley to run the Saturday Hopper service. We said, okay. So we put together a program, which you have in your package, regarding this hopper, this trolley. And basically it's a bus. It's a trolley that looks like a bus. I mean, it's a bus. It's a trolley. It can go up in the mountains. I mean, it can get change on it, just like the average bus. It will become part of the Calaveras Transit fleet. However, because the City of Angels is requesting this project, that this vehicle will be designated to the Saturday Hopper, which is City of Angels Camp and the Ride to Murphy's. Reason why we thought this project would be a good project is that I think people would like to ride a trolley a lot more than they would just a city bus up to Murphy's. It allows the city to kind of try to hopefully expand ridership, because with this trolley we're going to be working with the hotels, the other hotels, and be able to kind of pick up people at all the different hotels and then take them up to Murphy's. That's always been kind of the plan. And then back to Angels Camp. And so after looking at all the positives in that, we thought that this would be a good project, because it does a couple of things. One, it's a tourist attraction. Sonora has one. People ride it all the time. And it encourages ridership, which again will help the transit system. And 3, I think it's just the city can, and this is something that we'll have to work out with COG, that we can sell advertising on it as well. So it benefits the transit system, but it also benefits the City of Angels by having this vehicle run around on Saturday. You know, it holds approximately a little less than the big buses do, but right now where ridership is, we're in no need. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? At this point in the ridership, there's enough room to seat people that are there, that are coming on. Hopefully, it will bring more riders to, and maybe get another one, or you know, maybe it'll grow. And that's the goal of this Saturday Hopper. If you've seen the one in Sonora, that's what this is kind of modeled after. So that's, and I've included a picture and some of just the standard requirements of it. And basically, staff is just recommending staff recommending that the council approve the resolution, and there are going to be some changes to the subrecipient agreement. This is standard. This is a standard agreement that COG has implemented over the last couple of years when money is going from the COG to an agency. We've signed them for like the Partnership Planning Grant, Sustainable Communities Grant. This is kind of a standard agreement that we sign just with the monies that are going back and forth between us. So we will modify this to make sure that it all fits the needs and have the city administrator sign it if approved. So staff is recommending that we approve the resolution and authorize the city manager to sign the subrecipient agreement with the Calaveras Council of Governments for the City of Angels trolley.
Couple of questions.
Sure.
This is a dedicated loop on Saturday?
Yeah.
And
right.
Saturday only?
Yeah, Saturday only.
And it's like on a 30-minute schedule, or how does it?
Yeah, there's a full
work?
schedule. Actually, there are 3 stops, or actually 4. They stop once in they pick up in San Andreas, they drive to Walmart, and then they drive to the Visitor Center, and then they drive to Murphy's, and then they drive back. And there's probably about 5 or 6 a day at this point over the course of the day, roughly 5 trips that you can make back and forth between Angels and Murphy's. And so, yeah, so it's a dedicated system. The Saturday Hopper was probably established, what now, it's probably been about 18 months ago, as part of tourism, as part of doing two things. One is create a Saturday service in the county, because right now, without this, there is none anywhere. And second, to capitalize on the tourists on the 4 corridor from between Angels and Murphy's. And with the World Mart and to get those drivers to the bus and to the wineries and that. We're working on it. We're continuously working on the stops, where it stops, because we want to make it efficient. I mean, if we stopped at all the wineries, we would need 4 or 5 or 6 of these things to be able to make a reasonable time to get people back and forth. But that's kind of the goal, as you would say, as we continue to increase ridership, increase the stops within the hotels of Angels, and then at Murphy's, and then and move forward. And we're finding that there's actually people that are picking it up, driving from Arnold to Murphy's to pick it up and come to Angels to either shop on Saturday, or I mean, so there's multiple aspects of it that people are driving to Valleys from outside the county, stopping at one of the spots, picking up the hopper, and going to Murphy's. They're stopping at the Save Mart Shopping Center.
Do you know what the fare is?
That's a standard $3, I think, right now. Or
Is it
it's
like
a
a
standard
day, you
fare.
just get on, get off?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's yeah. And that's another thing we're working on with advertising this on this trolley, because you can advertise on it, that we might be able to do some different events for free tickets for on Saturday night, or if there are big events.
Who controls the graphics on the trolley?
Actually, the graphics, we control well, technically, the county controls this whole shooting match right at this point, but working with the city, we would get a graphic or that and get the advertising and then take it to the county, and then we get that approved through the county.
But at this point, we don't have a design for it.
At this point, we don't.
No, yeah.
Just what it has, just the photo that I sent. I mean, that's what it's going to look like. I mean, in terms of the photo. But we could have the ability to advertise on it. And create another advertising stuff, so.
And the whole thing is revenue and expense neutral as far as the city's concerned.
Yeah.
I have a question. Now, I thought that the Saturday Hopper has no longer being funded. Is that true?
No, it's being funded.
It is being funded.
It is being funded.
Okay.
There was talk about,
As I thought.
there have been talks about it being, not do it every week of the month. However, there were funding through LTF dollars and through cost savings of the Delta Gold Line being removed, that they would be able to fund it for the year. And so, and the City of Angels, based on recommendations we've gotten from our board members, have said that we want that funded. So if the LTF dollars that we have as part of the program, which we contribute 10% of those LTF dollars, that we can more than pay for what the current service is right now. The current service runs about $45,000.
Do you know if
Okay.
it runs out to Ironstone, or does it just go to Central Murphy's?
No, it goes to Central Murphy's right now. But that's something that we're trying to look at. It's kind of like a combination of a regular transit bus and a special events bus during those event times. So that's something that we're going to be working with a new operator, because I know right now we're in the process of hiring a new operator. Right now it's paratransit, and they handle like the scheduling and stops and those types of things. Just like they do for the shuttle for the fair, we might be able to on Saturday, if the shows are on Saturday night, we might be able to, maybe stop it kind of earlier in the day and then run it up with, run it up for those events. But those are something that we'll be working through transit.
Yeah, so with the JPA, then the transit that we're developing, including all three for the county, in the city and COG. So that would fall under that when we're completed with the Saturday Hopper will fall under that? Or it
Yeah,
just,
yeah, it's all-
It's not,
it's
it's
all-
really all combined, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, we call it the Saturday Hopper, but it's the Saturdays, it's the Calaveras County Transit Saturday service.
Yeah, okay.
We call it the Saturday Hopper because, the frogs, and again, trying to
Right.
pull in that tourist aspect of it, but it's all
Okay.
connected to Calaveras Transit. It's all, so
Okay.
if the JPA is able to be decided on, that it will all
Yeah,
fall under
If
that.
that all comes together,
Yeah.
yeah, which is still in the works, so we
Right.
don't know. Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. Is there any public comment? No? Okay. Well, I'm glad to finally see this in front of us. This has been a long push to get this through. And it, because of the contributions that the city gives to transit as a background, it's important that we keep this within our community and have the control that we do. And I think as we learn more from this and take the first step for this, I think for Joe, like adding more stops, that is it's definitely in the future, and that's the point of all of us been working together to get to, because we do want to see this more stopping in more locations, also catering to some of the local events, such as possibly even the high school games. And but I think this is a great step in the right direction, and I'm really happy to see that this has finally been able to be funded through those dollars and not out of the city's.
Well, and that
the
we
city's
didn't lose the
spending.
dollars, because we were going to end up losing that 211,000, and so it was a good project, and I think that I think we were kind of nervous about it in the beginning because they bought 4 new buses, and I don't think this was kind of on anybody's radar in terms of actually just being another bus. I mean, that's technically what it is, and so but once we kind of got over that hurdle, then it kind of fell into place, and so that's
What does the thing cost?
right now, that it's, from my understanding, it's right around between 175 to 200, depending on all of the
Bells and whistles?
yeah,
It's very cute.
all the bells and whistles. So yeah, at least that's what I've been told. So we are in the process. We'll once if the council approves this, then I'll be calling Melissa Raggio tomorrow, and Amber, and let them know that the council did it, and then we're moving forward, and then we'll get all the costs and we'll bring that back. But it'll be within the 211,000 of these funds. So
So, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
all right.
Okay. Calendar.
Okay, let me see where we are. Tomorrow, on the 22nd at 8:30 in the morning, there's a Calaveras Visitors Bureau board meeting at Aspen Street Architects. Thursday is Thanksgiving. Of course, the city offices will be closed, and they'll be closed again on Friday, so that we can all get ready for the holiday parade. ACPA's holiday parade starts at 4:30 in the Historic District. UWPA's meeting that was scheduled for the 28th has been rescheduled to December 12th.
That's what my mix-up was.
Okay, and we'll meet for a city council meeting on December the 4th. That's Monday, December the 4th, at the Bret Harte High School Theater.
Okay. All right. Okay. Move to adjourn.
Move.
Second. All in favor?
All right. Sure.
Adjourn.